why the audio doesn't work. Like, you have to push it in all the way.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Āśutoṣa Shri Srimad Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Āśutoṣa Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 14, Text 35. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Namaḥ rudrāya mahate devāya ugrāya mīḍhuṣe śivāya nyasta-daṇḍāya dhṛta-daṇḍāya manyave namo rudrāya mahate devāyogrāya mīḍhuṣe śivāya nyasta-daṇḍāya dhṛta-daṇḍāya manyave namo rudrāya mahate devāyogrāya mīḍhuṣe śivāya nyasta-daṇḍāya dhṛta-daṇḍāya manyave namo rudrāya mahate devāyogrāya mīḍhuṣe śivāya nyasta-daṇḍāya dhṛta-daṇḍāya manyave namo rudrāya mahate devāyogrāya mīḍhuṣe śivāya nyasta-daṇḍāya dhṛta-daṇḍāya manyave namo rudrāya mahate devāyogrāya mīḍhuṣe śivāya nyasta-daṇḍāya dhṛta-daṇḍāya manyave namo rudrāya mahate
devāyogrāya mīḍhuṣe,
śivāya nyasta-daṇḍāya,
śivāya nyasta-daṇḍāya,
dhṛta-daṇḍāya manyave,
dhṛta-daṇḍāya manyave,
namo rudrāya mahate,
namo rudrāya mahate,
devāyogrāya mīḍhuṣe,
devāyogrāya mīḍhuṣe,
śivāya nyasta-daṇḍāya,
śivāya nyasta-daṇḍāya,
dhṛta-daṇḍāya manyave,
dhṛta-daṇḍāya manyave.
All right. Namaḥ.
Namaḥ.
All obeisances unto
All obeisances unto
rudrāya,
ugrāya,
unto the angry Lord Śiva.
unto the angry Lord Śiva.
Mahate,
Mahate,
unto the great.
unto the great.
Devāya,
Devāya,
unto the demigod.
unto the demigod.
Ugrāya,
Ugrāya,
unto the ferocious.
unto the ferocious.
Mīḍhuṣe.
Mīḍhuṣe.
Now, one thing I notice whenever I'm giving class on the Bhagavatam, it's spelled Lord Shiva, but when people say it, they say Shiva.
Yeah, it's actually Shiva.
Shiva, okay. Mīḍhuṣe,
Mīḍhuṣe,
unto the fulfiller of all material desires.
Unto the fulfiller of all material desires.
Śivāya,
śivāya,
unto the all-auspicious.
unto the all-auspicious.
Nyasta-daṇḍāya,
Nyasta-daṇḍāya,
unto the forgiving.
unto the forgiving.
dhṛta-daṇḍāya,
Dhṛta-daṇḍāya,
unto the immediate chastiser.
unto the immediate chastiser.
Manyave,
Manyave,
unto the angry.
unto the angry.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Let me offer my obeisances unto the angry Lord Shiva, who is simultaneously the very ferocious great demigod and the fulfiller of all material desires. He is all auspicious and forgiving, but his anger can immediately move him to chastise. Purport. And now we'll get a closer look here at what Diti is saying by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Diti prayed for the mercy of Lord Shiva very cleverly. She prayed, "The Lord can cause me to cry, but if he likes, he can also stop my crying, because he is Āśutoṣa. He is so great that if he likes, he can immediately destroy my pregnancy. But by his mercy, he can also fulfill my desire that my pregnancy not be spoiled. Because he is all auspicious, it is not difficult for him to excuse me from being punished, although he is now ready to punish me, because I have moved his great anger. He appears like a man, but he is the Lord of all men." Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadah Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utav Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Kruna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Dhanavirga Swami Nitinamine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Let me offer my obeisances unto the angry Lord Shiva, who is simultaneously the very ferocious great demigod and the fulfiller of all material desires. He is all auspicious and forgiving, but his anger can immediately move him to chastise. So Diti, after her mistake that we've heard about a few times already, of engaging in sex life at the wrong time and for the wrong reason, it was personally motivated, not for Krishna's pleasure of, okay, I'll have children and raise them to be devotees, but because I want this will make me happy, I want this, I want a son now, I want to enjoy in this way, have children. So because of her mistake in doing this, she's appealing to Lord Shiva that he will hopefully not cause her great suffering, which he can do in many ways, but one of the ways she's looking out for is his destroying the child that she is about to have. So Shiva, she glorifies him as Āśutoṣa. He is easily pleased. He can be angered very easily, and he can also be pleased very easily. And we see examples of that throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, where different demons, they will appeal to Lord Shiva for something, and he will grant it after not even too much austerity. Sometimes the austerities are very gruesome, but they're usually not for very long. We see that with Banasura. He played mridanga for Lord Shiva very nicely, while Lord Shiva could do his different dances that he does. And so Lord Shiva granted him the benediction to have 1,000 very strong arms, and then he could play 500 mridangas for Lord Shiva. But we see he became puffed up, and he was crushing mountain peaks with his arms because he couldn't, just wait to get into a fight with them. And then he went to Shiva, who gave him the benediction and said, will you please give me a fight? I can't find anyone else who can compete with me. Will you give me a fight? And like this, he was informed that his pride would soon be crushed by an incarnation of the Supreme Lord, Parshuram. And then we also see with Vrikasura, he did a gruesome austerity, but again, it wasn't for very long. He did this austerity of cutting his own flesh and throwing it into a fire. We see the austerities that the demons do are always in the mode of ignorance. They're very gruesome. They're disturbing not only to themselves, but to everyone else. And Krishna explains that in the Bhagavad Gita, that the austerities in the mode of ignorance, they're harmful to the body, and they're harmful to it's disturbing to the super soul within the body. Krishna's not pleased with it. But this demon, thinking he could get some more sense gratification, he was throwing his flesh into the fire, hoping Lord Shiva would appear. And he does. And he asked Lord Shiva that, please give me the benediction that whosever head I touch, it will shatter immediately, just like it's hit by a thunderbolt. It'll break into 1,000 pieces. So Lord Shiva gives him that benediction, and then the first thing he wants to do with it is, Lord Shiva has such a nice wife. Let me kill him and enjoy his wife. So we see that's the nature of demons. There's no good sense. They don't know what to do, what not to do. And if they're given some benediction, they'll go and use it even against the benefactor, the person who's helping them. So there's the verse in the Bhagavad Gita, kamais taister hrita-jnana prapadyate na devataha tam niyamam astaya, and the rest. So the demons, or lusty persons, they worship the demigods because they have some material desire. They want to enjoy for themselves. So you can't even really call it worship, and you can't call one of them a devotee of a demigod. He's more like you could say he's a number one shopper, or I don't know, if you go to a store, if they have some name for you, if you go there a lot and buy their products. Yeah, he's a repeat customer. He's not a devotee of Lord Shiva. He's not a devotee of Ganesh or whoever, but he's a repeat customer because they're going back to this demigod for some lusty desire. They want to enjoy for themselves. That's not devotion. That's lust. This is the difference between lust and love. Kama means I want something for my own senses, and then love means I'm doing something just for Krishna's senses. It's defined in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the demigod worshippers, they're not devotees of the demigods. And we see even Vyasadeva, he's chastised very heavily by Narada Muni for promoting this demigod worship in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and promoting anything other than the pure devotional service to Krishna. So Vyasadeva, he is extremely worshipable. He's an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the literary incarnation of the Lord. And we see, for the benefit of all the confused people in Kali Yuga, he compiled the 4 Vedas to make things simple so people can know what to do, what not to do, and they can get out of ignorance. But even after all of this great endeavor, Narada Muni chastises him so heavily. You can see in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:5-14. Tarv, would you mind tilting this a little, just so I can see it too? Yeah. Whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no residing place. And if you scroll down in the purport, you'll see Srila Prabhupada using some very heavy words, following in line with Narada Muni is saying in correcting Narada Muni when he's correcting Vyasadeva. Therefore, Srila Vyasadeva should not have compiled any Puranas other than the Bhagavat Purana, because a slight deviation from that may create havoc for self-realization. A slight deviation from pure devotional service may create havoc for self-realization. If a slight deviation can create such havoc, then what to speak of deliberate expansion of the ideas separate from the absolute truth personality of Godhead? So Vyasadeva, he was getting chastised for in the Vedas and in the Puranas. There's so many examples of how you can worship this demigod and get this benefit. You can do this activity and get this benefit for your. In a sense, some things they're pious and they're elevating the person, but they're also for their personal sense gratification. But they're Vedic injunctions. They're all bona fide and they're all helpful and they're all in the Vedas. But even Vyasadeva, he's getting chastised for promoting these things, and chastised to the point that it's being called a deviation. We see Srila Prabhupada saying a slight deviation, if a slight deviation can create such havoc, then what to speak of deliberate expansion of ideas separate from the absolute truth personality of Godhead. So that means all these things. What's usually seen as Hinduism today, worshiping so many demigods, and it's not even worship, but you go to maybe there's some bona fide temples somewhere, but they're not in America. If you go to any Hindu temple in America, it's a whole concocted idea, and what's usually seen as a deity is just treated like some sort of like a statue. We see that also with devotees sometimes too. They'll have a deity in their home and then they treat it like a microwave. Whenever I'm hungry, you just throw the food up there and in a few seconds you can take it down. But we see all these other ideas that are put forward instead of pure devotional service. There's no room for them. We see in the case with Vyasadeva, he's getting chastised for not propagating pure devotional service in the Puranas and the Vedas. So you can see that any mundane sort of preaching, bridge preaching that has nothing to do with Krishna in it, even prajalpa or non-Vedic topics, there's not much of a room for it, we hear, when Narada Muni's chastising Vyasadeva. So he was being instructed to not encourage material life, which we see sometimes that so many different forms of preaching do. There might be a whole seminar or something on relationships and how a husband and wife can get along together and all of these things. But then there's no mention of pure devotional service or it should be for Krishna. Just a whole, I won't name any names, so it's hard to say it specifically and then keep it a little vague at the same time. But you see so many of these different classes, seminars, and so many things where you don't hear anything about Krishna. They're just saying different things about the mind, how you can do some different mental tricks to be a little more happy, how you can adjust your relationships a little bit to be a little more happy, how you can, just see the world a little different, and then your life will be much better. But then there's nothing about serving Krishna and how that's the only thing that will actually get you out of suffering. So you see, Vyasadeva, he mentions Krishna a lot in the Vedas, but still he's getting chastised for writing those down, the ones that are encouraging material enjoyment and not encouraging pure devotional service. This is in the next text of the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Purport, where the whole idea is, there's a whole overview given of the problem with this. So this also for worshiping demigods, this also falls in this category. When they worship demigods because of some lusty desire, not pure devotional service, so Narada Muni would chastise such people very heavily. So in the purport here we see, to revolve in the cycle of transmigration and a series of lives numbering 8,400,000 is an imprisoned life for the condemned conditioned souls. The human form of life is a chance to get out of this imprisoned life, and as such, the only occupation of the human being is to reestablish his lost relationship with God. Under the circumstances, one should never be encouraged in making a plan for sense enjoyment in the name of religious functions. Such diversion of the human energy results in a misguided civilization. Srila Vyasadeva is the authority in Vedic explanations in the Mahabharata, etc., and his encouragement in sense enjoyment in some form or other is a great barrier in spiritual advancement, because the people in general will not agree to renounce material activities which hold them in material bondage. So when I was reading that, it was just blowing my mind that even the preaching work done by Vyasadeva is being described as a great barrier in spiritual advancement. So it just made me think, what room then does someone like myself have, or anyone on like the internet or anywhere, to make some sort of thing that's so vague and has nothing to do with Krishna and is just encouraging material life, and then they say, oh, but then we'll bring them to Krishna. Vyasadeva his preaching is being described as a great barrier. So what is that? What is this stuff about you can learn how to fight, be very manly, get a hot wife, and then we'll bring you to Krishna? What is that? Or any of these other strange bridge preaching programs where it sounds very flowery and very nice, and with people, when they speak very softly, it's because their hearts are very far away. But when people it's when people are yelling at each other, it's because their hearts are very far away. But when people whisper to each other, it's because their hearts are very close together. And a wise man was once asked, what's the difference between loving someone and liking someone? Well, he explained that someone who wants to exploit, or someone who likes a flower, they take the flower and they see it and they smell it and then they throw it away. But someone who loves the flower, they see it and appreciate its beauty and cultivate it and let its beauty blossom. So real transcendental relationships are those relationships where we appreciate each other's beauty and help each other blossom. What the heck did I just say in the last minute? But you see so many of these things, it doesn't make any sense. So Vyasadeva is being discouraged from this very strongly. And we see also in the same purport, Srila Prabhupada, it's somewhere down, if you can find anything about with the word compromise, or you see the word doctor. He mentions how when a doctor gives a prescription, they don't compromise at all. He compares what Vyasadeva is preaching in the Vedas and the Puranas to compromising. A patient suffering from a particular type of malady is almost always inclined to accept eatables which are forbidden for him. So he wants to enjoy. But so I added that in for anyone who's just listening. So he wants to enjoy. So the expert physician does not make any compromise with the patient by allowing him to take partially what he should not at all take. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also advised that a man attached to fruit of work should not be discouraged from his occupation, for gradually he may be elevated to the position of self-realization. And there's more. So we see people shouldn't at all be actually encouraged in material sense gratification, because that's why they've been here for so long. 8,400,000 different species of life, birth and death again and again, so many miseries, birth, death, old age, and disease. It's going on almost eternally. And then if someone makes some compromise to encourage them in that here's the 1 second or 1 millisecond in these millions of lifetimes that you're getting a chance to get out of it. But actually, you should just stay in it. You should enjoy a little more and, encourage your girlfriend's beauty, and that's a transcendental relationship or whatever it is. So that is discouraged. So this demigod worship, it's in the Vedas and it's in the Puranas, and it's there and it has its purpose, but it's condemned by Narada Muni for derailing one from the real purpose of life, which is pure devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the natural inclination of every living entity. So when that natural inclination is revived, then that living entity's life becomes successful, not when they worship a demigod or engage in their lusty desires and then ask the demigod for forgiveness and get some sort of benefit. But when they engage in pure devotional service, then they're benefited. And we see that with Diti also. She has some lusty desires. She's trying to fulfill them. And what happens? The same thing that always happens. One tries to... Everyone is making plans in the material world. How will I enjoy? So Diti was making plans. She's thinking, feeling, and willing. She's thinking about it. She has some feelings about it. She expresses, and then she goes for it. And the result is it's not at all good. She becomes miserable, just like everyone else who tries to act on their lusty desires, fruitive desires in the material world. It's a place of suffering and misery. Krishna explains it like that, from the highest planet down to the lowest. So if you try to enjoy it, what are you going to enjoy? You're going to enjoy misery, and it's going to be temporary. So she was trying to do that. And what's the result? She becomes miserable, and she's praying to Lord Śiva to at least not make her more miserable by destroying her pregnancy. And we see, as long as she's engaged in these lusty desires and all of these things, she's never happy. But when we see later on in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when she's speaking to Kashyapa Muni, well, again, another selfish desire that my children were destroyed by Indra. So please grant me the boon that I'll have a son who can destroy Indra. Again, more selfish desires. It's still terrible. But what does Kashyapa Muni do? He instructs her in devotional service. Because his idea was that, okay, she has this material desire, but if she engages in devotional service, that material desire will get purified. Because who's she serving? The most pure, Krishna. And the process of devotional service in all aspects is purifying. Like we hear in the Bhagavatam, Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hridyanta Sto Hibhadrani Vidunoti Suhrit Satam. That just by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is virtuous in itself when properly heard and chanted, all impurities in the heart are destroyed. All impediments in spiritual life are destroyed almost to nil. And devotional service is established as it's a fact. One gets connected with devotional service just by hearing the Bhagavatam. So any process of devotional service is purifying. So he knew if she engages in this devotional service, she'll be purified. And then after that, we see she becomes a devotee. Her life becomes successful, and she gives birth to not sons who are demons who terrorize the whole world and make a problem for everyone, but to 11 great demigods who are helpful for maintaining the order of the world. So, like this, she got the benefit and became non-envious after that. She didn't care anymore for killing Lord Indra or any of these things. But we see here in this text that she's praying that her children won't be destroyed by Lord Śiva, and they won't be destroyed by him, but they will be destroyed by Krishna after they cause a lot of suffering to everybody. So we can go to the next text here. Canto 3, chapter 14, text 36. Sana prasidatam bhamo bhagavan urvanugraha vyadasyapyanukampyanam strinam deva satipati. Let him be pleased with us, since he is my brother-in-law, the husband of my sister Sati. He is also the worshipable Lord of all women. He is the personality of all opulences and can show mercy towards women, who are excused even by the uncivilized hunters. Excuse me. Purport. Lord Śiva is the husband of Sati, one of the sisters of Diti. Diti invoked the pleasure of her sister Sati so that Sati would request her husband to excuse her. Besides that, Lord Śiva is the worshipable Lord of all women. He is naturally very kind towards women, on whom even the uncivilized hunters also show their mercy. Since Lord Śiva is himself associated with women, he knows very well their defective nature, and he might not take very seriously Diti's unavoidable offense, which occurred due to her faulty nature. Every virgin girl is supposed to be a devotee of Lord Śiva. Diti remembered her childhood worship of Lord Śiva and begged his mercy. So we see that example in the Krishna book and the Srimad Bhagavatam of the gopis. Well, actually, they were worshiping the wife of Lord Śiva, Katyayani, in order to get a good husband, Krishna. And those examples are given for those personalities who are on a whole other platform. That when these pure devotees who every aspect of their life is stemming from love of God, love of Krishna, when they go to some demigod, we can see it's a totally different arrangement. They just ask the demigod that, you are a great servant of Krishna, please help us engage in Krishna's service. So they're asking for devotional the same thing that they're always asking for and wanting, devotional service. And so there's many purports where it's explained that these great devotees, when they worship a demigod, they do that for devotional service. But that doesn't mean that, okay, see, here it says devotees worshiping a demigod, I'm a devotee, there's some demigod temples around, or there's a demigod in the temple that's supposed to be where devotees go to, so I can worship the demigod. That's not what's being explained, but that these pure devotees, everything they're doing is for love of Krishna. And when we see these examples of them worshiping a demigod, what are they doing it for? Same thing they're doing everything for, simply for Krishna's service. Not that they put a Ganesh in the temple so more people come and give more donations, and then all those people who are coming pray to Ganesh to get good grades and the Tesla car and all of these things. So, trying to remember any examples where we see any girls worshiping Lord Śiva. Is there any examples anyone has? Were they were worshiping Lord Śiva?
Praying for a good husband. Nimai goes up to them and says, "This Lord Śiva, he's my servant, and whatever benedictions he's able to give is only giving by my mercy. So you worship me, give me all of these things, and I'll bless you with a good wife, sorry, good husband." And so some of the girls, they were intimidated, and they offered the offerings that were meant to Lord Śiva, they offered it to Nimai. And Nimai blesses them. You will get very wonderful husbands, and you will also have beautiful sons, and live long life, something like this. And then some girls neglected, and he cursed them, saying that you will get some ugly old man, shriveled up in something like this as a husband.
Yeah, they'll have
And that
co-wives.
you'll marry late or something like this. So you'll have a late marriage with some old guy and something like that. So
there we see an example of how the unmarried girls are usually a devotee of Lord Śiva. So that's there in the Vedic culture. But again, what is that for? They're usually not doing that for pure devotional service. It's to get something material, which can help them. If they get a husband who's a great devotee, then they can serve the husband nicely and get all the results that he's getting by his devotional service. But we see that's there, that traditionally the unmarried girls would worship Lord Śiva to get a nice husband. And earlier in the purport, we were hearing how Lord Śiva is the worshipable Lord of all women. We also hear in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that all women are attracted to Krishna. So sometimes people want to imitate Krishna or the demigods, and because for some reason they think that they are Krishna and they think that they are the demigods and they are like everyone. It doesn't make any sense because of these Mayavadi misconceptions. It doesn't make any sense. I don't even know what to say about it. But we meet people who think they're someone that they're not, and they try to imitate Krishna or Lord Śiva, and it's very foolish of them. Just as an example, there was this crazy guy we met at some sort of we were distributing books at a booth that we got at some sort of Hindu event in a parking lot in front of a Indian grocery store. And the event was advertised that there would be like 40,000 people there. And we didn't know that they were just lying like people usually do when we are at the Indian store. But there was maybe like 400 people. It was much less. And this one guy, he was coming to our booth, and he was going crazy about how he has this mahate Vedic experiment where he's like proving to people that the Vedas are like in line with science and this and that. And after he told us his whole idea and some excuses on like why he couldn't take Srila Prabhupada's books, even though that would give him the real science, show the real connection with science and the Vedas and everything, he was explaining that actually everything's one, we're all God, and that he is Shiva. But the thing was that he's also extremely overweight. So I told him, I was telling him that you're not God. And then he said, okay, I'm not God, I'm Shiva. And I told him, Shiva's not fat. He was just like, oh. His reaction was pretty funny. I can't repeat it. He just swore and like really loud. He was like surprised. But still, after these people, they're very unintelligent. So no matter what you tell them, they're not going to learn. So after that, he said, okay, fine, then I'm Ganesh. Thank you so much. And I was mentioning it because in the Purport we're hearing Lord Shiva is worshipable by all women. So he was still saying that he was God and everything. And I told him all women are attracted to Krishna, but no women are attracted to you because he's very slimy looking and fat. And then he started to understand a little bit. He sobered up a little bit for some reason. So, no, he didn't. I think he might have gave a donation. I don't remember. I don't think he took a big set or anything. So we see all women are attracted to Krishna, and also in the material world they're attracted to Lord Shiva. They're not. Who's attracted to a body made of blood, pus, and stool? Unfortunately, that's the position of all the conditioned living entities on this false conception of this attraction between men and women. Everyone's getting attracted to stay in this material world. But we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Rukmini Devi says how abominable it is. When someone could engage in the service of Krishna, who has a beautiful spiritual body, he's the most beautiful, why would they get attracted to something with whiskers, a mustache, and full of stool, blood, pus, all of these things? So that's there. And we're also hearing that Shiva is also naturally kind towards women, who even the uncivilized hunters are kind towards. So maybe he'll be merciful to Diti. She's praying like this. And we see some similar examples of that with Kamsa, actually. When this is mentioned in the Garga Samhita, how when he was rounding up all of these different demons, he would go to them and say, I challenge you to a fight. If I win, you become my servant. If you win, I'll be your servant. And he would bash them like anything. But with Putana, he didn't do that. He didn't challenge her to a fight because she was a woman. And even though he was such a heinous person causing so much suffering for others, he had this little bit of decency to not fight a woman or try to harm them like that. So, and because of that, later in the Srimad Bhagavatam and also in the Garga Samhita, we hear when Vasudeva is appealing to Kamsa to not kill his own sister, which, he as a demon, it doesn't matter what principles you have, because your senses are uncontrolled. The second there's something that's going against your sense gratification, then you'll give up whatever principles it is. So later, he's ready to kill his sister. And Vasudeva is telling him, he's emphasizing the point that she's a woman. He's saying, don't kill your own sister, she, her, woman. He emphasizes it a few times because he was remembering that Kamsa, he had this quality where he at least didn't try to kill or fight Putana because she was a woman. So Lord Shiva himself is associated with women, so he knows very well their defective nature. So some discrimination is being made here, and nowadays people don't like to hear any sort of discrimination. There's an idea, it's the same as the Mayavadi idea, that's propounded by Shankaracharya, that everything is the same, it's all one. It's a complete illusory idea, because we see all throughout life there's different varieties and variegations of things. And even though now there's this egalitarian idea that everyone and everything is equal and it's all the same and you can't discriminate against anything, which you see is actually a very nice idea for keeping people stupid. You're a very good consumer if everything's all the same and you should just do whatever feels nice. But we see, even with people who believe in this, that goes out the window if there's some positive discrimination. Like if you say black people are good at sports, and you're saying that to some black people who want to play sports, then they're happy about it. Or if there's Chinese people who are good at math, or another culture of people who are well-mannered, or another one who's got whatever, if it's some good quality, then people usually don't mind it, and they're usually happy about it, or they'll even boast about it and say, like, this is our thing, we're good at this. But if you say some negative discrimination, then everyone becomes very disturbed, and this can't be true. It's not true. This person is just low class. They're they're behind in their thinking. They're not open-minded. But we see it's just sanity that men and women are different, so they have different roles to play, and they should be also treated differently. And in society, when people understand the differences between different classes of people, that's seen in a sane society where people actually work together towards a progressive goal. So in the Varnashram system, people recognize there's different classes of people, there's different types of people. Some have different weaknesses, some have different strengths, and everyone has some responsibility to play, because they're endowed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a certain position, certain abilities, so they're supposed to use that in accord with the rest of society so that everyone makes general advancement towards the goal of life, which is becoming Krishna conscious. So we see the defective nature of women is being pointed out here. Usually it's that they're less intelligent, or like a child, impressionable. So they're doing the sentimental, based on feelings. So whatever the science for them being made that way is there. A mother has to be sentimental for a child. She has to feel what are all of his or her emotions, take care of the child, raise them, nurture them, all of that. Like this, they hold the whole home together. So they have to be sentimental to do that in one sense. But because of that sentimentality, they're usually inclined to be, they can be misguided, and they're usually less intelligent. Because if one's thinking with their feelings, the logic and rationality can go out of the window. So that's being pointed out here. And we see, because of this defective nature, Diti made this sentimental decision that she's thinking, everyone else has a kid, I want a kid, I want it right now. Who cares what any of the reactions are? Her husband even told her, just wait a moment and it'll be okay. But she went for it anyway. So she's praying to Lord Śiva that he'll excuse this defective decision on her part that she made on account of being less intelligent, and asking for his mercy. So those are just some points from the purports. Is there any comments or questions, corrections? Yes, Chandanacharya Prabhu.
Thank you. That's pretty awesome. Some of the things you're saying about some of those purports are really ecstatic. I forget sometimes, that specific pastime of Vyasadeva and Narada Muni's talks and how important that is. And I was just thinking that along those lines that Narada Muni was kind of disappointed in Vyasadeva, like, what did you do? Why did you do all these things? Why did you write all this other stuff? And Srila Prabhupada writes similarly in purports, especially with Prahlad Maharaj. Here, Prabhupada says that the members of the Krishna conscious movement should be fully convinced that without Krishna, one cannot be happy. And that's the purport where Prabhupada said, we're not interested in yoga and all of these shows and things like that. We're only interested in preaching about Krishna. And so I was just thinking that, and you were quoting that Srinvatam Swakatha Krishna, and how that's purifying, how it takes us to Dara, just that I keep mixing it with Prabhupada's song, but that how it takes us out of more the passion and ignorance. But even within the Krishna consciousness movement, if we hear from the wrong person, it keeps that veil, that kind of level of illusion that it's okay to not preach Krishna consciousness. And that's fine. And somehow, even if you hear that initially and you read Prabhupada's books, there's like a level of illusion that you think, oh, we don't see these things for some reason. I don't know how it's happening, because Prabhupada's so clear throughout his books. But it kind of goes to show the importance of hearing from the right source. If you hear from the wrong person, then you develop this, you look through this lens, and it's an impure lens. But what Srila Prabhupada actually wants is this point of that, becoming fully convinced of Krishna and understanding that the only goal of human life is to actually execute Krishna consciousness. It's just like it's a necessity. It's not an option. It's like water is not an option in our lives. It's a necessity. We go somewhere, we want, we need to sustain our life. We want some water. Somebody gives us Coca-Cola. It's like disappointing. It's like, no, I don't want that. I want Krishna consciousness, or I want water. I want that which is going to satisfy me. So it's just kind of understanding our roles as the disciples of Srila Prabhupada and our line. You're making really nice points. Just a point about the woman thing that you're saying. It's interesting how they speak on all this level of, like, we're on the same level of a man, and we can do the same things. We can go to war. We can do all this. But even if I just say the word, what if I punch you in the face? A woman, everybody becomes disturbed. Why are you disturbed? If I say that to a man, you wouldn't be disturbed. I'm gonna punch you in the face. How would you feel? What are you gonna do? Everybody will like, oh, you can't do that. Why? You want to go to war? You think you're equal to a standard of a man? Then why are you disturbed? So then, when it comes to practice, they're so like, everything they say is absolutely useless, because it just doesn't match up reality and their, concoction and their illusion that they're in. So it's just, you're mentioning just gender roles, and I was just thinking about that they all just talk, and it's like children. It's like, children want to do so many things. And the Bhagavatam says that women and children, they're kind of the same. Like, oh, yeah, we can go to war. Yeah, we can fight. Yeah. But when it comes down to like actually dying on the battlefield and going out and doing something, then they can't step up to it. So it's just interesting. It's the same concept of the Mayavadis also. It's all philosophy. But when you put it into practice, all right, give me your wallet, give me all your money, it's my money. Then it's not, all of a sudden we're all different. Yeah, or they give a donation. It's all different all of a sudden. What happened to your philosophy? But it's just,
Thank you. Yeah, those are nice points. Yeah, go for it.
Just a clarification. You said at the beginning of the class that Banasura's pride was smashed by Parashuram?
Yeah, Parshuram cut off.
There's Krishna.
Oh, no, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Sorry. Krishna cut off almost all of his arms, and then Lord Shiva saved him by making a humble request to Krishna. Yeah, Kartavira Arjuna is the one who Parshuram cut off all of his arms and killed him.
Yeah, just one point. Krishna wasn't going to kill Banasura anyway, because he promised Prahlad Maharaj that he wouldn't kill anyone who came in his line, in his just like dynasty. So, just wanted to point that out. Like, he wasn't going to kill Banasura anyway, because he promised he wouldn't.
It
Second,
looked like he was about to, though.
yeah, he just cut off all the arms to like destroy his pride. Yeah, he was left with 4 arms at the end. Also, at the beginning of the class, you said like how Diti like ended up suffering anyway due to the death of her sons. I feel like she would have she suffered more by having the sons be born rather than just like them being cut in the womb, because she had to watch them like grow up into like these big demons and then get killed by the Supreme Lord. Yeah. No,
You're saying that she suffered more by having them be born rather than
she, like,
Lord
rather
Shiva
than
killing them from the beginning?
That's what it feels like to me. Like, it's not written anywhere. That's what it feels like to me. So, yeah. Okay, I won't say anything like that.
Anybody else? Navani-hoda, Prabhu?
Yeah, I have a question. Why? Because we're not supposed to like worship Lord Shiva, and we show respect to him. But I mean, you've gone to the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Why did like Lord Chaitanya go to all these Lord Shiva temples when he traveled to South India? Because I was reading through that, I was like pretty shocked, like that he went to. They are holy places, they're tirthas, but it's interesting why he went to all those Shiva temples.
Yeah, we could pull up the purports if you want, but just to kind of summarize it as far as I understood it, Srila Prabhupada explains that a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he doesn't, he offers respect to everyone, even the, I think he gives the example that even like the dog and all of this, which is interesting using in this situation, but because he offers respect to everyone. There's that verse in the Bhagavad Gita that he offers respect to the dog eater, the brahmana, and all these things. So what to speak of a demigod, he especially offers respect to them because they're servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So yeah, he doesn't like disregard them or neglect them or be offensive to them, but he goes and offers his respects to them. We see in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, so this is what really stands out to me when I see in temples that are supposed to be for Krishna's service, when there's a demigod installed in worship of a demigod, it just really shows you how much people aren't reading Srila Prabhupada's books, because in the first pages of the Bhagavad Gita, it says right there, the sentence that devotees do not worship the demigods. Devotees do not worship demigods. Then he quotes that chastiser dhṛta-daṇḍāya verse, and explains a little more. So it's in the first pages of the Bhagavad Gita in the introduction, devotees don't worship the demigods, but they do offer all respect to them as great devotees of the Lord.
So, if we were to travel like through India, like what's the understanding of like going to a Lord Shiva temple on the way to like a Balaji temple, right? And he's like, okay, he's here, or going out your way to go to, because it seems like a thin line of going out of your way to show respect to the demigods, or just kind of, okay, it's in the vicinity, he's here, I'm going to show my respect. So, like, what's the understanding? Like, should we go out our way and show our respects?
In those purports in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada says that the devotee worships the demigods with these verses. And it's verses from the Brahma Samhita, and you see all the verses are more or less saying, you're a great servant of Krishna. So in that way, that the devotee gives respect, or you could say they don't go and do like a Shiva puja, Ganesh puja, and all these things, but you could say worship. They're chanting the glories of that demigod. But what are the glories that they're chanting? That you're such a great servant of Krishna. So yeah, a devotee can worship them in that way, glorifying their service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it's compared to like a government worker. If one there's the president and all of this, but if one can go to one of the ministers or someone in the government and bribe them to get something, some special favor. But the thing is, that's not beneficial for the briber or the government worker, because they're both, it's an under-the-table arrangement. But if that person treats the government worker as the servant of the whole government, or as a servant of the president, then it works well. Like they pay their taxes to them, just what they're supposed to pay. Then it works out. But if they bribe them as someone separate from the government or someone separate from the president, then it's not a good arrangement. So they can be glorified in that way for their service to Krishna.
This is very easily understood if one understands how culture, what is the behavior of cultured people. How do they respect and how do they show love? If, for instance, someone who is related to you, who you have much relationship, you have some relationship with them, they're independent, but they have good friends or whatever. They have a relationship with them. They live elsewhere. You don't see them that often, but they visit your city. And if you come to know about it, and you heard that they came all the way here, and they did not come and see you, it affects your relationship. This is part of cultured behavior, where we're not impersonalistic. Western civilization, these things are so much lost because there's not very good relationships with people in general. And people are very interested in their selfish motives. So they go out of their way. You don't go and see that person because you had to do anything with them. You just go and see them to show love and respect. You don't go there for a business transaction. And that's part of cultured behavior. Because everything shouldn't be a business transaction. And similarly, Vaishnavas if we have proper Vaishnava etiquette, we are considered to be demigods. Not exactly on their level, there are different levels of demigods, but the description is given that there are two types of people in the material world. Dvāyogāya purusha lokesh charaksha. I'm sorry, no, I'm quoting a different verse. That Deva asura evacha. Vishnu bhakta smrito deva asurastad viparyayaha. So Vishnu bhakta smrito deva. That if you're a Vishnu bhakta, you are considered a demigod. This is Shastra. Prabhupada quoted this verse many times. So now, among demigods, those are senior demigods. They're extremely, extremely elevated. Even if we are called demigods, it's just in name only. We're obviously not, So it behooves one, when one is in the area or vicinity of a place of residence of those demigods within the material world, to visit them and show one's respect. This is our... And why? Because as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers, we are humble. And we go and offer respect to them. We go and show respect to those demigods because they exist in those areas and we accept them. As we do not accept the mood of certain Vaishnavas where they see, well, Vishnu is the supreme God and we will not respect any other controller in this world. No, we accept it because we accept everybody as our master. Of course, the supreme master is Krishna. Nobody is denying that. But we also offer respect to all living entities, what to speak of demigods. And how does one show respect? In this way, that if it's a traditional place, not in the United States, this doesn't apply. You don't have to go to any demigod, because all these demigod temples are all created in impious lands, and most of them aren't even worshipped properly. But we visit these demigod temples, especially in India, there's so many places where there's entire sthalas. Like you go to Tirupati, then you have Sri Kalahasti, which is not too far away. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited Sri Kalahasti. Then he visited Tirupati. Because it's right there, and it's a very important Shiva Kshetra. So many like this are there. And so one goes there to pay respects to the demigods, knowing that if you perhaps didn't go, and you don't have a good reason why, you could get cursed. Not really, we don't go out of fear, but it does work that way, where, somebody might be hurt. They don't. Now, in our case, the demigods don't really care. They're so big and we're so small. They don't really care. It's for our benefit to go and show, oh, so nice, you actually came. You came out of the way just to show respect to me. And you're not asking for anything. You're just glorifying me, seeing me as a devotee of Krishna, and you show respect to me. That warms the heart. Because we have to understand that they're all personalities. So if somebody, we didn't even know that they were coming, we probably would have never known, but they come out of their way and then they come and see us. Even if the relationship isn't that strong, but they come. In fact, that touches one even more. It enhances the relationship. Once it's the blessings of these demigods. And it's good to have their blessings too, because they control so many parts of our life anyways. Yes, said in Shastra, Prabhupada says that. The demigods are very pleased with anybody who's worshipping Krishna. And so this is the purpose, that if we understand this in the context of how one should behave, then it's not very difficult to understand why we should go to them. We don't go to the demigod temples to worship them. We show respect. And then there is a way to show respect. When we go to the temple, we don't just follow what everybody else is doing. There is a certain way in which we offer our respect, which differs in the way that they are worshipped. So that's it's a little different. We won't accept, for instance, everybody who's going and worshipping them may go and accept all the demigod prasadam that's being offered. We will not accept that. So there is worship and then there is respect. We don't do everything that demigod worshippers are doing in the temple. These things are not taught today in society. So you have two extremes, where devotees don't understand why to go, and then they neglect. And then there are devotees who go, and they literally go all on in worshipping the demigods and doing everything, and just no conception of what to do, and eat anything and everything that they give, and anyways, offer arati, everything, do everything. It's like there should be a difference between worship and respect. Like when spiritual master comes, we do arati for him. When some other Vaishnava comes, we respect them. We offer obeisances. We warmly welcome them. We give them prasadam. We say a few nice words. This is called respect. If someone comes, you do arati, everything. What's the difference between the spiritual master and this person? So.
Thank you. That's really helpful. We can see also from the comment Vishnu Chitta Prabhu is making, like how important it is to have the practice of Krishna consciousness with the understanding of the tradition and the Vedic culture behind it, and also on the other side, how it's like someone's almost in a useless position if they're trying to engage in Krishna consciousness without any understanding of the Vedic culture. It's like, where are they going to go? It's going to be very difficult. So, Books and Farms, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Oh, there's one. Okay, sorry. I thought we were out of time. Mahaprasadi.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, we can hear you.
Okay. So, in following Śrīla Prabhupada, there's a memory of Śrīla Prabhupada entering a Durga temple, actually. And when Prabhupada was with his disciples, and then when he went inside the temple, Durga temple, he told them, "You follow exactly the way I do." And then Prabhupada, when we offer our obeisances to Shri Radha Shyamsundar Krishna Balaram Gunataya Narasimhadev and the Guru Parampara, we offer our obeisances with them on our left side. But Prabhupada said, because Durga she's not Krishna because she's a demigoddess, he offered obeisances with his right side facing Durga. So even we see that the acharyas, when they visit the temples, even in the Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhava, there's a description of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also visiting a famous Durga temple. And, it's like different Durga temples in different parts of India. They're considered to be different parts of her body. So this part, I'm forgetting exactly what the name is, considered to be the vagina of Durga. Kamakya, Kamakya, right? So over there, and it was known that sacrifices happened. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur personally saw many sadhus coming down wearing like human skulls and stuff like this. But still, he went inside the temple to offer his respects, and they were shocked, like, "You're a Vaishnava, how come you're doing it?" And he gives the same example, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha, coming to show respect. And so these are two instances from the lives of our acharyas as to how they visited the demigod temples and how they behaved when they were in the demigod temples. Right. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
I have a practical question.
All right.
What should we do when, for instance, we enter a grahasta's house, or even maybe book distributors at a Hindu temple, and on the altar there's like demigods and stuff, but there's also the Supreme Lord.
Well, at the Hindu temple, as
Yeah.
far as I understand in America, it's not like those. It might look like a deity, but it's not installed as a deity. It's just like they even call it a statue, and it's not being worshipped, and it's just like. So I mean,
You know, I mean,
we can
I
give
particularly
some respect, but
yeah, give some respect. Yeah. But there's also like, I mean,
there's no
particularly
regulations being followed. It's a big mess, but
Yeah,
you
I'm
can give some respect. Okay,
particularly-
I see the form
Yeah.
of my Lord there. Yeah.
because I've also been in like awkward situations where you're like, we're at a Hindu temple and we got like a good relationship with them just because they let us distribute the books, so we're trying to maintain that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh yeah, here, offer this.
Yeah.
It'd be a little awkward.
Yeah, you can give some respect and do what's needed to get the job done.
You have to be smart. These are like details. But, for book distribution, you can do some drama. Drama is allowed in book distribution. But, it should be a drama, and a drama is only executed for the purpose of the drama, and the moment the drama is over, it's over. So, so you want to distribute books, you don't want to upset the local authorities and make sure. So you do the minimum, but you do the needful, and that's the principle. And the detail, one should have some intelligence how to do that.
Just expanding a little bit on the point.
Yeah,
about,
yeah. See, like a good. No, but I don't think you should say that because they will say, "Why are you in the temple?"
Just the point about the doing the minimum. Then another situation is if someone is in a very influential position as a devotee, and then they go and do a full arti to someone who's not Krishna. Maybe someone even could say, okay, that's just doing the drama to get whatever job done there, but it's becomes very confusing for everybody else, and can make a lot of what is that? However, it was explained with Vyasadeva, it can make a big block on the path.
Yes,
of
so I mean,
spiritual
therefore,
advancement.
somebody should have some intelligence. Does the benefit outweigh the risk, and and what is the risk, and is it worth it? At such a senior level, you maybe just don't do it because you may distribute a few books right now or make them favorable, but then the repercussions of your activity is worse than the benefit of giving a few books out to these people. You can find some other place to give books without doing this. So one has to see it all. Yes, it depends on one's level, one position. Ordinary book distributors can get away with things that, a guru sannyasi on book distribution cannot do. Not that what the book distributors are doing is wrong, but that because the guru sannyasi is much more in the limelight and spotlight. And what is that? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, sannyasi alpa chidra sarva loke gai. That even a small fault in a sannyasi is like, the whole world talks about it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, that's why some intelligence is required. So one, yeah.
All right. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.